Hello, my name is Mr. Dennis Egan, and my wife and I have a business called Joyful Tutor Academic Services and Products. We are marketing an Abraham Lincoln impersonation for school assemblies. It uses interactive technology, and we hope that this documentary will be insightful so that you can know exactly what this service is, and we hope that you will appreciate it. And we look forward to bringing this service to your school district in the near future. Thank you. Let's look a little more into this time in my life. Now, reasons for moving to Indiana from Kentucky. Sir, come on up.
As you will see, administrators and students and other adults can participate.
Very good. That is where Indiana is. So we just moved to the west.
The life of Lincoln, which took place in the 19th century, is very profound, to say the least. So, we must ask the question, why should our youth, in particular, in American society today in the 21st century, learn about his life? Well, simply put, his life in that era represents many things in terms of character education that is of great value. And so the assembly is designed to where knowledge of different multiple intelligences, such as kinesthetic learners and visual learners, for example, in both elementary and secondary grades, because the assemblies are customized to be grade appropriate. Nevertheless, including linguistic learners, all of these aspects, all of these research-based concepts and principles are assimilated and harnessed so that the production is profound. So at the end of the day, we want this assembly to impact our youth, to help them to appreciate their American education in a greater way, that they would strive to be the kind of citizens who manifest righteous character, if you will, in society.
Hi, this is Dennis, and we're here in Isabella County, Michigan. This is the headquarters of Joyful Tutor Academic Services and Products. We call it Jtasp. Now, this is where my wife, Mrs. Egan, and I live and reside, and we're operating this particular business and raising our 3 sons in a wonderful school community. Of course, only the 2 older ones are students. They're finishing 2nd grade and kindergarten. Nevertheless, I want to greet my professor, Dr. Mike, with Central Michigan University, and my classmates, and any of those who will be viewing this documentary. I wish you well. And I'm very encouraged about this class, EDU 642. And during this class, we are learning about multimedia, and we're reading an article that we're using throughout the course. The article is by David J. Swisher. The article is entitled, "Does Multimedia Truly Enhance Learning?" Now, in the article, Mr. Swisher, I don't know if he's a doctor, if he has a doctorate, but David Swisher mentions that a professor named Richard E. Mayer, who is a professor in the state of California, that much of his research, that is Richard Mayer's, is what David Swisher uses or harnesses into the article we're studying in our EDU 642 class. So it's been a tremendous resource for me personally, and I had to use, and it was a privilege, some of the information in the production of the documentary that you have been viewing and watching, which is to market our Abraham Lincoln Interactive School Assembly. Nevertheless, I want to highlight just a few things from this article in relationship to the documentary and to what we're trying to do in general in the realm of education. The first thing is the cognitive load theory, and basically what that says is that human beings only have so much we can take in terms of stimulus and data and information at any given moment. We have a very short-term memory. Our working memory, that is, can only handle so much stimulus, data, and so on in any given moment. And of course, the essence of what we want to do with the knowledge of cognitive psychology, if you will, is to understand how to help students take information and get it past short-term memory into their long-term memory. Of course, that's another topic to discuss at another time. But as far as the cognitive load theory goes, it's important to create resources such as the documentary you've been viewing here in such a way that we don't overwhelm the student, the learner, or the viewer of that which the multimedia is presenting. And so we want to be very careful with how much illustrations we use at any given point, how much text, how much narration, and how all of these things are interrelated and harnessed in, if you will, to produce something in multimedia. The second thing is the modality principle, which essentially is saying that words spoken in multimedia are going to be more effective than putting those words into text. So the best I could, I kept that in mind as we produced this documentary on the Lincoln Impersonation, knowing that at any given point, if a video and or a slide can be what the viewer is seeing, it's best to take out the text along with that visual information and simply speak or narrate that which needs to be expressed verbally. And then the final thing is the redundancy principle. Now, the modality principle is the solution to the redundancy principle, because the redundancy principle is basically saying you don't want to narrate in multimedia and have what you're saying, what you're speaking verbally, printed in text so that the person viewing the multimedia video is hearing the words spoken and also reading them with their eyes. That's redundant, because they're also seeing the visual, whatever picture, whatever illustrations and graphics are going along with the presentation at that point. If they're getting the visual with the text printed, which is another form of visual, and they're hearing that same text with their auditory sense because it's being narrated, that's just redundant. So the point is, let's take out as much as possible the text and only have the graphics, the visual, and then have the verbal narration over that. So I hope this is helpful. Certainly we're trying to keep this in mind in what we're presenting, including this documentary. And so thank you for considering Joyful Tutor, Academic Services and Products, where we are striving to do the following: bridging the gap between families and educators, because in our society we need to develop relationships. The rigor and the relevance will come, but when there's solid relationships in our communities, that's what it's all about. Thank you. Click. Would you like to? Okay, wonderful. Here you go. There's the mouse pen. Go ahead and click on, I believe, the red one, the red circle. Move to Indiana. What was it all about? Well, it was not in a rented U-Haul. I mean, we're just looking at the culture. We're looking at how things have changed in society. We didn't have those in the 19th century.